Like everything for your potatoes? Half and half comes on the side. Everything okay?
We got that. Oh, that's different too. Yeah.
This is medium well, but then it comes with a bone because it has an extra bone.
Oh,
It
it's
looks a
bit
little
special. You take it home. Normally not that big. He gave you a big piece. Yeah. And normally no bone. And no bone. And you got a bone. He knows you're a growing girl. He gave you because you're special. Really? That's good.
A little bit different of an experience.
Yeah.
23 December 2024, 19:05 hours, Eastern Standard Time. My mom, my sister, her husband, my girlfriend and I are in our home in New York City, New York, Manhattan. We fly here every year to watch the Nutcracker and to celebrate Christmas. After our Christmas celebration is over, my mom, my sister, her husband fly back to San Francisco, and my girlfriend and I stay here to celebrate New Year's Eve. Recently, I got interested in the civilian mesh network. I've used the mesh network on the law enforcement side from my volunteer work with the Sheriff's Office, and I've also been exposed to it on the military side from my volunteer work with the United States Coast Guard. I found out about the mesh network on the civilian side, and I got interested in it, and I took possession and custody of several items that I'd like to show you. You could research the mesh network on your own. I'm going to give you 3 reasons that might interest you to get involved with this type of communication system. Reason number 1, the mesh network is free. It's not part of any type of cellular network. You don't pay any subscription fees. You don't need a license or anything like that. All you need to do is purchase one of these devices and set it up, and you are immediately activated onto the mesh network. These little devices are essentially transceivers, walkie-talkies, two-way radios. The only difference between these transceivers and a walkie-talkie, transceiver, two-way radio, those are all different names for the same thing, is that these particular transceivers do not transmit any type of voice communications. These transceivers only handle text messages. The second reason is all your text messages are encrypted. The third reason is none of your text messages are recorded and logged into a server. For instance, if you send a text message or make a phone call or receive a phone call through your mobile phone, like your iPhone, and your carrier is AT&T, AT&T has a record of all your calls received, all your calls sent out, and all your text messages. With the mesh network, none of that stuff is logged anywhere. So if an attorney wants to subpoena your text messages, all that attorney can subpoena is the information that's stored in your AT&T account. In the mesh network, there are internet connectors. And I don't know how that works by way of logging text messages through the mesh network, but I don't use those types of servers because I do not want my text messages recorded anywhere when I'm using the mesh network. And I have a 4th reason that just came to mind. I know I said I had 3 reasons, but now I've got 4. The 4th reason is the mesh network, when properly set up for your community, will work when the cellular service goes down, or if you're in an area that does not have cellular service. Note, I mentioned that the mesh network will work for you if you properly set it up for your community. I spent many days finding the best locations for my 6 to 8 nodes so that my friends in San Francisco and my friends in New York City, New York, we can all communicate each other through our own private mesh network within our community. But it took many days to set this up and to get it working to the point that it appeals to my liking. So you have to spend time to strategically set up your nodes in order for it to effectively work for your specific purposes. This is the HelTec version 3 mesh node. As I mentioned earlier, it's a walkie-talkie without the voice communication. It sends out and receives text messages. You could purchase these nodes naked, like this one here, which means it doesn't have a case and I have to put it together myself. Or you can purchase one that's fully clothed, which means it's fully assembled, it has a case, you don't have to do anything, all you do is turn it on and you're ready to go. I purchased about 8 of these nodes. The other 7, let's see, the model for the other 7 is the HelTec T114 nodes. I like those nodes better than the version 3. The T114 nodes have GPS, and that appeals to me. This is the HelTec T114 node. This is the one that has GPS, and I have about 7 of these nodes. This particular one is being set up for the apartment building in my home in New York City, New York. I talked to the building people and they said I could place it on the rooftop of my apartment building. So that's what I'm doing right now. After I assemble this, I'll catch the elevator up to the rooftop and I will strategically place this on the rooftop so that I can get good coverage in Manhattan. Viewer camera left is the GPS module, and this is one of the reasons that appealed to me in purchasing the HelTec T114. And I like it much better than the HelTec version 3. I only purchased, as I mentioned earlier, one HelTec version 3, and that will be on my person whenever I travel. Once I power up this node, I can enclose it, and then I will catch the elevator up to my apartment building's rooftop, which is located outside, and I will place this node on the rooftop, and it should give me pretty good coverage throughout Manhattan. This node, since it will be stationary on my apartment building's rooftop, has 2 batteries. That way I don't have to constantly go up to the rooftop and change the battery. With 2 batteries, this thing should last a very, very long time. I'm guessing about a month or more. As you saw earlier in the video, this is the same type of setup that I have in my home in San Francisco. Since the purpose of these 2 nodes is to be stationary in my home in San Francisco and here in New York City, New York, Manhattan, I don't need to have it constantly connected to my Apple iPhone. The only time it'll be connected to my Apple iPhone is if I want to change the configuration settings. I want to use a 10,000 mAh battery for my nodes. The only thing is the connector is PH 2.0, Papa Hotel 2.0, so I need to replace it with the JST 1.25, Juliet Sierra Tango 1.25. When carrying my nodes on my person, I need to have it connected to my Apple iPhone. I will be putting these 2 nodes into the new cases that I purchased for it. This one's the transparent case, and I really like this transparent case because I like to look at the blinky lights. I really like the design of this one too. It's very rugged and very durable. I tether this to my tennis backpack.
Could be playing better than he's playing now. He could have easily put this set away